Not long ago, the world watched in alarm as Indian and Chinese soldiers clashed in the icy, unforgiving heights of the Himalayas. The bitter cold was matched only by the frosty relations between the two nations, as troops faced off in a tense and dangerous standoff that threatened to spiral out of control. The violence at the border sent shockwaves through India, fueling a wave of outrage and sparking massive protests. Across the country, angry crowds took to the streets, burning Chinese flags and demanding a boycott of Chinese goods, their voices echoing a deep sense of betrayal and anger. The Galwan Valley clash became a symbol of the deep mistrust and rivalry between these two Asian giants, both nuclear-armed, both ambitious, and both unwilling to back down. The world was reminded just how fragile peace in the region could be. As international newsrooms buzzed with speculation, diplomats around the globe braced for the possibility of escalation. The world held its breath, fearing that a single misstep could ignite a much larger conflict. But today, on September 1st, 2025, the scene is almost unrecognizable. In a dramatic turn of events, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Beijing, not to confront but to extend a hand of friendship to President Xi Jinping. The two leaders, once adversaries, now stand side by side in a gesture that few could have predicted just a few years ago. News headlines around the world now speak of a new era, strategic partnerships, shared ambitions, and a future that could reshape Asia. In Washington, policymakers and analysts are left stunned, scrambling to understand what this means for the global balance of power. How did India make such a dramatic pivot, moving from anger and confrontation to engagement and cooperation? What forces drove this unexpected transformation in foreign policy? The answer lies in a rapidly shifting global landscape, where economic realities and new alliances are redrawing the map of power. As the world changes, so too must the strategies of its leaders. Modi's visit to Beijing is more than a diplomatic trip, it's a high-stakes gamble. He must balance India's economic future, its security interests, and its global standing, all while navigating the unpredictable currents of international politics. On one side lies the promise of an Asian century, with India and China rising together to shape the future of the continent. The potential for cooperation is immense, offering new opportunities for growth and influence. But on the other side is the risk of alienating the United States, India's long-standing partner and ally. The delicate balance of these relationships could determine India's place in the world for decades to come. This isn't just a shift in policy, it's a seismic event with global repercussions. The world is watching closely, aware that the outcome could reshape international alliances and the very nature of global power. Is Modi a visionary leader, boldly charting a new course for India? Or is he risking the nation's future by betting on a partnership that could prove fragile and unpredictable? The answer remains uncertain. One thing is clear: the stakes have never been higher, and the world is holding its breath to see what happens next. To truly understand India's recent pivot on the global stage, we must first examine the mounting pressure coming from the United States, a pressure that has been steadily intensifying over the past few years, reshaping the dynamics between these two powerful democracies. Once celebrated as natural allies, the US-India relationship has taken a sharp turn. What was once a partnership built on mutual respect and shared democratic values has soured, as Washington's tone has shifted from friendly collaboration to a series of pointed demands and expectations. The US now pushes India to confront China more aggressively, urging New Delhi to decouple economically from its neighbor and align itself fully with American strategic interests. This pressure is not just diplomatic, it's economic and political, touching every aspect of the relationship. Tariff threats, tighter visa rules, and persistent questions about India's autonomy have left New Delhi feeling increasingly cornered. Indian students and professionals face new hurdles, while Indian businesses worry about access to the American market. Indian leaders sense they're being treated as junior partners, not equals. A perception that stings in a country proud of its sovereignty and growing global influence. The US often overlooks India's unique challenges: its volatile, heavily militarized border with China, and the deep economic ties that bind the two Asian giants. For India, these are not abstract issues but daily realities. Instead of strengthening the alliance, relentless American pressure has driven India to quietly consider alternatives, seeking new partners and fresh opportunities. Enter China, offering not just dialogue but also investment, technology, and access to its vast and growing market. Beijing's approach is pragmatic, focused on mutual benefit. While Washington issues demands and warnings, Beijing extends opportunities and open doors, making India's choices more complex than ever before. President Xi promises to resolve long-standing border disputes and invest billions in Indian infrastructure from railways to technology parks, offers that are both strategic and enticing. For Prime Minister Modi, whose vision is centered on economic transformation and job creation, these offers are hard to ignore, especially as India seeks to accelerate its growth. China now presents itself as a partner for prosperity and progress, a stark contrast to America's increasingly hardline and transactional stance. The choice for India is no longer obvious. As the world's largest democracy weighs its options, the path forward is filled with both risk and opportunity. The economic logic for India-China cooperation is not just compelling, it's transformative. Both nations, with their immense populations and rapidly growing economies, stand at a crossroads where collaboration could redefine the future of Asia and the world. Together, India and China represent a combined market of nearly 3 billion people, each bringing unique and complementary strengths to the table. Their cities pulse with energy, innovation, and ambition. China brings unmatched manufacturing power, vast capital reserves, and a proven track record of building world-class infrastructure at scale. India, on the other hand, offers a dynamic young workforce and a thriving digital innovation ecosystem, with startups and tech talent driving new solutions. Chinese firms like Xiaomi and BYD already create thousands of jobs and are helping to drive India's booming tech and green energy sectors, making technology more accessible and affordable. Imagine this partnership scaled up. High-speed rail networks connecting major cities, smart urban infrastructure transforming daily life, and millions of new jobs fueling prosperity on both sides. India's rapidly expanding middle class becomes a vast and lucrative market for Chinese goods, from electronics to electric vehicles, driving consumer growth. Meanwhile, Indian IT services and pharmaceutical exports find new opportunities in China's enormous market, opening doors for collaboration and innovation. The potential of this economic partnership is measured in trillions, not just billions, promising unprecedented growth and prosperity. This vision of an Asian century offers a powerful alternative to Western economic dominance, positioning Asia as the new engine of global growth. It appeals deeply to both nations' desire to reclaim their historic roles as global leaders and innovators, shaping the world's future. The economic pull between India and China is strong enough to challenge decades of mistrust, offering hope for a new era of cooperation and shared prosperity. But the promise of Chinese partnership comes with a threat: the risk of American retaliation. The US is India's largest economic partner and won't tolerate defiance lightly. The first target, India's IT sector, which relies on American clients and H-1B visas. New regulations or tariffs could devastate tech hubs and millions of jobs. India's pharmaceutical exports to the US could face bans and delays, hurting business and global health. Tariffs on textiles, jewelry, and agricultural goods would ripple across India's economy. The pain would be felt from boardrooms to rural villages. Modi knows that angering Washington could unravel years of progress. The American economic hammer is a powerful deterrent. The risk is real and enormous. India's hesitation isn't just about economics or strategy, it's rooted in history. In 1962, Nehru's dream of Asian solidarity was shattered when China invaded, humiliating India and leaving a deep scar. The betrayal of 1962 haunts every China policy debate in New Delhi. Generations have learned to distrust Beijing's promises. Recent border clashes only reinforce these fears. Many in India's military and strategic circles see China's overtures as a trap. They warn that today's cooperation could mask tomorrow's aggression. Modi's outreach to Beijing is controversial and fraught with risk. The trauma of 1962 is a powerful counterweight to economic temptation. Trust once broken is hard to rebuild. Modi faces an impossible choice between a demanding ally and a distrusted neighbor. His answer: strategic autonomy. India will engage all major powers but refuse to be locked into any alliance. Modi maintains ties with the US, attending Quad meetings, joint exercises, and seeking investment. He signals friendship but on India's terms. Simultaneously, he opens dialogue with China, testing the sincerity of Xi's offers. By playing both sides, Modi gains leverage, negotiating from a position of strength. Supporters call this a masterclass in modern diplomacy. nimble, pragmatic, and suited to a multipolar world. Critics warn it's a dangerous game. India risks being trusted by no one. The strategy could maximize benefits, or leave India isolated. The world watches as Modi walks this diplomatic tightrope. Is this brilliance or folly? Only time will tell. Beyond geopolitics, India's farmers could pay the highest price for this diplomatic gamble. Hundreds of millions depend on agriculture. Exporting rice, spices, and more to the US-American tariffs or new regulations would devastate rural incomes and push struggling farmers to the brink. US companies also supply vital seeds and technology. Losing access could threaten India's food security. The progress of the Green Revolution is at stake. For rural India, these global games are a matter of survival. Modi, whose support base is rural, cannot ignore this risk. The fate of India's farmers is a powerful constraint on foreign policy. The cost of defying America could be felt in every village. The world is watching India's pivot, knowing its choices could reshape global power. Other nations, caught between Washington and Beijing, see India as a test case. A successful India-China partnership could inspire a new bloc, an economic axis challenging Western dominance. Russia and other major developing nations might join, creating a genuine balance of power. Western capitals are alarmed. A multipolar world threatens their influence. But the risks are just as great. Failure could leave India isolated, squeezed by both superpowers. Instead of leading, India could become a cautionary tale. The stakes are global, the anxiety palpable. Modi's gamble will send ripples far beyond Asia. The outcome could define the century. We stand at a crossroads. Modi's Beijing visit is a bold move that could redefine India's place in the world. Is this the dawn of an Asian century with India and China at the center? Or a historic blunder underestimating China and overplaying India's hand? The optimistic vision, a multipolar world, shared prosperity, and new global balance. The pessimistic view economic hardship, security threats, and diminished standing. The final chapter is unwritten, the path forward uncertain. Modi has rolled the dice and the world watches as history unfolds. Visionary or gambler, only time will tell.